What up, y'all? It's Jamie. I'm here with Missy Elliott today. You see, she's a little excited to be moving around. That's because yesterday she totally just shed. Um, and shedding's nothing new. I mean, the snakes, they do it every couple months, maybe. Several times a year, that's for sure. And the older they are, the easier and healthier the sheds get. But to be honest, I saw something that I'd never seen before. I saw it from like the very, very first moment when the first flap started coming up off her nose and the first cap started peeling off her eye. And I got to watch her struggle with the actual shedding part. Like I'd never seen her like flip her head upside down and like push her head against the ground to try and peel the skin off her face. And then she started wrapping herself around the body of her sister, Lauryn Hill, and kind of really struggling from beginning to end to get that skin off her, to shed the old skin. She was really dark colored for the last couple weeks. She spent 2 or 3 days in her water dish, I think, kind of soaking up and getting ready for it. And like, well, excuse me, something in my throat. While I was watching it, I had all these moments, these kind of like meta moments where I was thinking about like, oh, I should, post about this and say something about it for sure. Like I wonder what I should say. And I started going for all this like low hanging fruit, right? Like, oh, you shed skin and it's about like, losing some of your old self and finding yourself underneath and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you know what? That is kind of like low hanging fruit, like looking at like animals shedding their skin as like a metaphor for like having to go through pain before you go through some rebirth. And I think some of that shit's kind of played out. But like I also think that it's important to be reminded of these lessons. You know what I mean? Like it's not a novel fucking idea that like, growth can happen from pain, or that in order to proceed and move forward and grow in life, you have to kind of let go of the past and kind of shed some negativity, shed some negative emotions, and see what kind of strength you have underneath of that. And, these aren't new and novel ideas. They've been told time and time again, but it's important to remind yourself of these things time and time again. Sometimes I have to remind myself that, I really like waking up early and, going for a run before I make breakfast, even though I know that I forget that. That was a shitty example. I don't know why I said that one, but whatever. Work with me. Sometimes you kind of forget your own basic core tenets sometimes. You know what I mean? Like why you believe that you need to go through the struggle. Well, because it's worth it in the end. When you shed the struggle and you get to see what kind of new growth you have underneath, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever. So it is kind of cheesy, but it's important to remember that. And I think it's also important to remember that, like, just like with snakes, with reptiles and insects that molt or shed, right? They just shed everything at once. They just, they'll crawl out of of their old skin and they'll be displaying their new skin, right? Or their new scales, whatever it is. And with some mammals, they shed fur and they shed hair. Right? Sometimes they let go of crap that's been stuck to the hair so they can have new growth underneath. Or you have humans like us. We're like all day long, we're constantly walking around, shedding skin, shedding hair, every single moment of the day, right? I read that thing on the internet about how fucking a certain percentage of dust is actually just old human skin. Kind of gross, but kind of cool to think about at the same time. And it kind of plays into my point here in that, like, sometimes you don't need to make big changes or shed huge things in your life to see like new results and see what's underneath. And sometimes it's really healthy to like let go of things one at a time and to make sure that like as you're growing, you're not holding on to everything, that got you there. I may be getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but I think it makes sense. I do. I think it's important to remind yourself that growth can happen in different forms. It can happen in different stages. Sometimes you need to rip that Band-Aid off, but sometimes, it takes a long time for things to heal and for things to change. I saw you struggling for a minute yesterday. And also, you don't do it all on your own. I watched Miss Elliott struggle for a little bit to shed by herself, and then as soon as her sister became curious and Lauryn Hill came and helped her out and lent her body to rub up against, then it got easier. It got way easier for her. I think you need to remind yourself that it's okay to like ask for help in any stage, whether it's the shedding stage, the preening, the showing your newly fresh smooth skin off, it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to grow in spurts, a little bit every day, or one big, huge shedding moment where you reveal your new self to the world. So with that, I hope you have a revealing day, a growth-filled day, a positive day, and I'm trying to get the snake to say bye-bye. Where you at, Missy? Where you at, Missy? All right, peace.